there, welcome to the Millennial Book Junkie. My name is Monique, and today is another episode of Thriller Watch, where we are going to be talking about all the books, events, and movies coming out in the thriller genre in the upcoming month, which is June of 2026. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you all the new horror and thriller releases coming out in June of 2026. We're going to be talking about all the thriller author events that I could find happening in June of 2026, and also all the scary movies coming out this month that I'm really excited about. So buckle up. We're going to be talking about over 50 new horror and thriller releases coming out and lots of good stuff. So let's go. Before we get started, I want to remind you that I have a Bookish newsletter and you can get all these releases in your email inbox every Tuesday. So I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of good books, movies, events, and it's really hard to keep track of all that stuff. So if you want to keep track of that stuff a little bit better in a more manageable format, don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter at the link in the box below so that you can get all this stuff in your inbox as it happens. Also, before we get started, I want to know what you are reading. I am currently reading The Last Party by A.R. Torrey, and I don't know how I feel about it yet. I think things are kind of heating up, but let me know what you are reading in the comments below. Here's a snapshot of what people in this community are reading. I hope you have a good look. Let me know if you're reading any of these, if you've read any of these. I love sharing all the books that people are reading with you, because then you can add stuff to your TBR. And if you're anything like me, you are constantly looking up new books to read, even though you know realistically you might never read them. But it's all about book hoarding, right? I mean, that's what the game we're playing is, right? All right, let's get started. I have a lot of good stuff to share with you today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this content, and let's get this party started. All right, first we're going to talk about crime thrillers coming out in June of 2026, and we are starting with The Confession Artist by Christine Carbo. This one is coming out on June 1st. This one's about a killer who will post sketches of his potential victims on social media, giving each person 6 days to confess their secrets online or die. So an ex-cop named Crosby, she sees a sketch that looks like her, and now she's got 6 days to figure out which of her secrets that she has to spill, before she dies. So that one sounds good. Next up, we have Hysteria by L.J. Ross. This one is coming out June 2nd, and it's about a forensic psychologist named Dr. Alexander Gregory, who gets called in to help the French police during Paris Fashion Week after a bunch of women start turning up dead with their faces slashed. There is only one survivor here who witnessed everything, but she doesn't want to talk. So now Gregory has to race to unlock the secrets buried in her mind before the killer strikes again. Next up, The Last Time We Drowned by Saratoga Schaefer, coming out June 2nd. I haven't read her other books, but I have been dying to. This one is about a broke bookstagrammer, named Charlie, who lands a spot on a luxury influencer yacht off the Florida Keys. But then a hurricane traps the group at sea. Things start getting dark real fast, communications are cut, someone ends up dead, and now the storm outside is the least of her worries, and if she can't figure out who the killer is, she might be next. So this one sounds good. A yacht at sea, terror everywhere. Let's do it. Next up, we have The Shark by Emma Stiles, coming out June 2nd. This one is about another serial killer named The Shark, who is targeting young female swimmers along the beaches of Western Australia, and the police are not doing anything to stop it. So two women decide to take matters into their own hands. They manage to track down and capture the suspect, but as they start digging deeper, they begin questioning each other's motives. That is always fun, and whether the person they caught is really who they think he is. Next up is The Final Chapter by C.B. Everett, coming out June 2nd. This one is about a famous literary author who vanished 10 years ago and a mysterious manuscript of his that has just resurfaced. Except the manuscript does not feel right. So his best friend and fellow author is asked to annotate the manuscript, but as he reads, he starts recognizing real people and real events woven into the story. So now he's convinced the book is actually a hidden key to what happened to his friend. But the answers he finds might put him in danger too. Valley of the Moms by Hannah Selinger is next. This comes out June 2nd. It's about Anna, who is a stay-at-home mom. She is slowly losing her mind from boredom and the social politics of her perfect little town until one passive-aggressive PTO email sends her over the edge. A year later, Anna ends up dead in a frozen river, and her husband is pretty sure he is the main suspect. So he decides that he has to find out what happened to his wife, and what he uncovers is a whole lot darker than what he expected. Next up is The Fine Art of Lying by Alexandra Andrews, June 9th. This one is coming out. This one is about a woman named Claire who gave up her dreams of an art career when she married into a very wealthy lifestyle. And then one day, a new social connection pulls her back into that art world. But when she ends up at the scene of a murder and a stolen masterpiece, every clue in the investigation starts pointing back to her. So now she's tangled up in a very dark and dangerous world, trying to figure out how to clear her name before it destroys her family. Next up is Based on a True Story by Sarah Vaughn, coming out June 9th. This one is about a famous children's author who invites family and friends to her 70th birthday. But the night before the party, she gets a very anonymous email threatening to expose a secret that she has kept for over 50 years. And then they have a TV crew arriving to film a documentary about her life, and she is desperate to figure out who sent this email before everything she's built comes crashing down. This kind of reminds me of Too Old for This by Samantha Downing, so we'll see how this one is. Next up is The Breakup Retreat by Camilla Sten, coming out June 9th. This one is about a woman who goes undercover at a remote therapy clinic in the Swedish woods that claims to help women get over heartbreak. Intriguing. Except people who check in have never been heard from again. Go figure. Our main character goes in with a fake backstory, ready to expose the truth, but once she's inside, nothing goes according to plan, because of course not. And she's running out of time to figure out what's really happening before she disappears herself. Next crime thriller on the list is This Is a Lie by Cleo Ballard. June 9th is when this one comes out. It's about a woman whose perfect suburban life falls apart after a brutal betrayal by her husband, friends, and even her own daughter. So she decides to create an AI best friend, programmed to always tell the truth. At first, it's great, but then it evolves into something terrifying that sees anyone who threatens our main character as a target for elimination. So now she has to figure out how to stop it before it destroys everyone she loves. Next up is The Last Time We Saw Her by Jacqueline Goldis, coming out June 16th. This is about a group of friends who return to a remote island 10 years after one of their fellow campers mysteriously disappeared during a treasure hunt gone wrong. They are there to film a documentary about what really happened, but when old secrets start coming to light and someone ends up dead, it becomes really clear that whoever was responsible back then never really went away. Next up, Every Lie I Told by Hilary Davidson, coming out June 16th. This one's about Jackie, a PR professional whose job is covering up other people's secrets. Things get real personal, though, when her younger sister Maddie goes missing and leaves behind a dead body at an Upper East Side mansion. Jackie, of course, will do anything to protect her sister, even as the police start building a case against her sister. But then Jackie scrambles to point the investigation in another direction and realizes some people have been waiting for this exact moment to come after her. The Pinnacle is up next by Abir Mukherjee, coming out on June 16th. This one is about a washed-up American celebrity living in a luxury skyscraper in Mumbai who wakes up from a drunken blackout to find his Bollywood star wife murdered in their bedroom. And he knows exactly how guilty that he looks. This story follows three people. George, our main character, who is trying to find the real killer. We have his wife's personal assistant, who is being blackmailed by someone. And then we have a servant who just saw too much and is now on the run. So it's apparently a wild, darkly funny thriller that plays out across the extremes of Mumbai's richest and most desperate worlds. Next up is Nasty Little Secrets by Gabby Hanks, coming out June 16th. This one's about Rose. Her life has turned upside down when her brother was convicted of murdering his girlfriend, and she's the only person who believes that he is innocent. She even wrote a book about it. But then her younger sister goes missing, and Rose is dragged back to her hometown, and she starts finding connections between her sister's disappearance and the original murder case. And now she's realizing that the answers might have been hiding in her own book all along. Next up, the anticipated book by Karen Slaughter, The Secrets We Hide. This one is coming out June 18th. It is the second book in Miss Slaughter's North Falls series, and it's about a small town sheriff named Emmy and her sister, who is a former federal agent, and they respond to a shooting at a house that has long been the subject of neighborhood rumors. When they get inside, they find a woman murdered in her kitchen and a teenage daughter left for dead upstairs. Everyone in town thinks they know what happened, but Emmy suspects the truth is buried a lot deeper than it looks. Next up is Whisper Creek by Allison Brennan, coming out June 23rd. This one is about a widowed Texas farmer who is already struggling to keep her land afloat. Then a storm hits and everything starts going wrong. Her son stumbles upon an injured man who appears to be the victim of a violent attack. Her younger kids walk straight into danger while checking on a neighbor. And now she's just cut off from help, and the storm is getting worse. And she has to fight to protect both her farm and her family from threats coming at her from every direction. Next up is The Girl on the Beach by Carol Snow, coming out June 23rd. This one's about a little girl named Roxy who vanishes in the ocean one day, and this devastates her wealthy Santa Barbara family. Months later, Roxy's former nanny returns to the beach house area where Roxy disappeared, and she spots a child on the sand who looks exactly like Roxy. So now she's convinced that Roxy didn't just wander into the ocean on her own, and she is determined to find out what really happened, no matter the cost. The Au Pair is up next by Teddy Wayne, coming out June 30th. This one's about a once famous author named Stephen, whose career and marriage are just falling apart, okay? Until he becomes dangerously obsessed with his family's young Norwegian au pair, who actually admires his work. What starts as a secret infatuation spirals into a scandal that lands them both in a headline-grabbing trial. Now Stephen has to reckon with the mess that he has made while trying to figure out if Astrid truly loved him, I assume that's the au pair, or played him from the start. Does this remind you of any current present-day trial? I can think of one. The Kings of Vegas by Karen Mack and Jennifer Kaufman is up next, coming out June 30th. This one is about Josie, a former casino kid who gets pulled back to Las Vegas after her father dies, and he leaves a surprising condition in his will. She and her siblings have to run the family casino for 3 years if they want to inherit it. Okay, succession much? When Josie digs into the finances, she realizes the business is tangled up with the FBI, local mobsters, and a rival casino owner. And then she has to find out who she can trust before the whole empire comes crashing down. Next up is Not What It Seems by Lisa Jackson, coming out on June 30th. This one's about a serial killer in Georgia who is leaving a trail of bodies, each one with a mysterious numbered stone etched with a strange symbol placed nearby. A reporter, Nikki, can't stay away from the story, even as her detective husband warns her that she is getting in too deep. But the closer she gets to uncovering the truth, the more she realizes this killer may already be closer to her than she has ever imagined. Imagine if it's the husband. Next up, we have The Neighbors Are Watching by Aggie Bloom Thompson, coming out June 30th. And this one is about a wealthy woman who blacks out at a neighborhood party, and she becomes convinced that she was drugged, but nobody believes her. When she teams up with a new neighbor who has been quietly investigating the unsolved murder of his best friend's nanny from the year before, they both start investigating together. And of course, the closer they get to the truth, the clearer it becomes that someone in their picture-perfect community will do anything to keep it buried. All right, let's talk about the horror books coming out in June 2026. First up, we have Backstabbers by Eliza Jabbour, coming out June 2nd. This one is about 3 friends who are hiking a remote trail in Washington state, and they find themselves in very serious trouble when one of them gets injured with no way to call for help. Their only option is a creepy cabin, of course, occupied by a stranger who seems a little too eager to help them out. But as things start going sideways, they realize the man in the cabin might not be the only thing they need to worry about, because their own friendship has some dark secrets of its own. That sounds good. Next up, we have Muñeca by Cynthia Gomez, coming out June 2nd. I love the cover. I love the title of this one. This one is about a woman in 1968 Oakland, and she becomes convinced that a wealthy young heiress named Violeta has been paralyzed by a dark magic curse. And she hatches a plan to break the spell by working her way in as Violeta's caretaker. Once inside, she confirms her suspicions, but the deeper she digs, the more her own buried past starts catching up with her. And as the 2 women fall for each other, Natty, who is our main character, realizes she may have to risk everything to save the woman she loves. That sounds very good. I need to pick that one up. Next up, we have Hunger and Thirst by Claire Fuller, coming out June 2nd. This one's about a troubled 16-year-old in 1987, and we love the 80s, don't we? She falls in with a group of squatters living in a mysterious house with a very dark history. And she ends up doing something really bad on a dare that leaves her literally haunted. So then now 36 years later, she's trying to like live under a fake name, have a new life, and then suddenly this true crime documentarian blows her cover, and basically something from that night in that scary house is trying to track her down. And now she has to face what she did before it destroys her. Next up, we have Sublimation by Isabel J. Kim. This one is also coming out June 2nd. This one's more of a sci-fi horror, but I thought it sounded interesting. It's about a world where when you immigrate, you literally split into two versions of yourself. One who leaves and one who stays behind. That just breaks my heart. Rose left Korea at 10 years old, and she never looked back. But when her grandfather dies, she returns for the funeral and comes face to face with her Korean self for the first time in years. What she doesn't know is that her other half has no intention of letting her leave again. This just breaks my heart about people who leave countries to come to other countries, and part of themselves just remains in that other country, and that just really makes me very emotional. Next up, we have Marion by Leah Rowan, coming out June 2nd. Interesting thing about this one is actually by the author Leah Conan, if you've ever heard of her. She has a lot of books out, but recently she changed her name to Leah Rowan. So if you're familiar with Leah Conan, that's who this author is. And this one is a reimagining of Psycho, but this time when Norman Bates pulls back the shower curtain with a knife, Marion fights back and kills him instead. So now she's on the run as both a thief and a killer, trying to figure out how to save herself and her sister while uncovering the dark secrets hiding in that old motel. I have to read this one. I actually had an early copy of this one. I got it on NetGalley, and then of course I haven't read it yet. So I really need to read it. The idea of this sounds so good. Next up, we have Headlights by CJ Lead, coming out June 9th. I love this author. I haven't even read anything by her, but I saw her at a panel and I'm like, I need all your books. This one is about an FBI agent named Daniel who is literally on his last day at the job when he gets pulled back to the city he fled years ago to investigate a very disturbing case. People are waking up, get this, on the side of the highway with no memory of how they got there, wearing a victim's skin, okay? And a stranger's hair tied around their tongue. What? The deeper this guy digs, the more the case starts connecting to his own past. And now he has to confront whatever has been hunting him before it comes for the people he loves. Oh, you guys, there's just so many good books coming out. How do I keep up? Next up, this cover just has my heart. It Came from Neverland by Cynthia Pelayo. This one is coming out June 9th. Now, what's cool about this one is that it's kind of like a Peter Pan retelling, kind of like the Psycho one we just heard about. But this time it's our beloved childhood hero, Peter Pan. And that just makes me all kinds of excited. It's about Wendy Darling, who is now a school teacher in 1914. And she becomes convinced that Peter Pan, the dark, terrifying version she encountered as a child, is back when children start going missing in London. Nobody believes her. Her brothers only remember Neverland as a happy childhood fantasy, and Scotland Yard starts pointing the finger at Wendy herself. So now she has to clear her name and stop Peter Pan before another child disappears. I love that we are taking these classic happy Disney childhood movies and turning them into something dark and terrifying. Please, let's do that a lot more. I feel like we're barely scratching the surface on these new releases, and I am definitely feeling the caffeine kicking in, and it is making my heart very happy. Next up, we have The Secret Attic by Chelsea Conrad, coming out June 9th. And this one is about a woman. She inherits her mother-in-law's massive cluttered estate, and she starts uncovering some deeply unsettling secrets inside of it. Now, as she digs through all the rooms, her husband starts acting like a completely different person, and the house feels like it's working against her. When she finds a doll labeled with the name of a girl who vanished years ago, she realizes her mother-in-law's secrets may be connected to decades of mysterious disappearances, and that her husband might know more than he's letting on. I have this weird thing about ideas that if you don't act on them, they go to someone else. I learned that in this book I read called Big Magic. a long time ago by Elizabeth Gilbert, but I have had similar ideas to this for novels. And the fact that it's out just goes to show you that ideas really do jump from person to person until they are made real. Next up, we have Blood River Witch by TJ Martinson, coming out June 16th. This one is about a deputy sheriff named Alicia, and she gets pulled into a murder investigation when the victim turns out to be her ex-fiancé, identifiable only by a tattoo of her name on his knuckles. Now, this killing is just like an occult murder from years ago that her father had investigated, and this raises the question of whether the right person was actually ever caught. So now Alicia has to navigate this town full of suspects and basically keep it from happening again. Next up is Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep by none other than Paul Tremblay, coming out on June 30th. This one is about a girl named Julia. She is directionless, 20-something. She gets hired by her estranged mother to use a cell phone, get this, like a video game controller, to escort a man who is currently in a vegetative state with experimental AI in his head from California to the East Coast. Did you get that? She's escorting someone from her phone across the country. So while she's fumbling her way through airports, trying not to lose her human cargo, the man, who she calls Bernie, which I feel like that's very iconic, okay? Weekend at Bernie's. I don't know. There's something there. This guy Bernie is trapped in some nightmarish dreamscape with no memory of who he is, and he's slowly piecing together the clues about his past. Now, as their two worlds collide, they become unlikely fugitives racing toward a truth that neither of them saw coming. This sounds very unique. I am very interested. Next up is The Summer of the Serpent by Cecilia Udave, coming out June 30th. This one is set in Guadalajara in the summer of 1977. I love all these settings where children are witnessing things that will stay with them forever. A girl trapped in a carnival glass box, a ghost with an unfinished story, and a darkness creeping through the street that the adults seem too distracted to notice. This story is told through a patchwork of voices, kids and grown-up, living and dead. I love that. Each one holding a piece of the truth. It is a haunting, atmospheric read about the moment childhood innocence starts to crack and how those memories never really let go. I assure you they do not. Next up, let's talk about some adventure thrillers. The first one we have is Clive Cussler Cold Fire, a novel from the Numa Files by Graham Brown, coming out June 2nd. It's about an American military aircraft carrying a powerful laser weapon that gets hijacked in the middle of the flight over the Arctic Ocean and vanishes without a trace. With Russian and Chinese ships racing to find it and a potential shooting war brewing at the top of the world, the only American asset nearby is a small research vessel whose crew gets thrown right into the middle of it. As Numa operatives investigate what really happened, they realize the US, Russia, and China are all being played by a single person with a very personal score to settle. The next adventure thriller coming out is called The Adventures of Juan Planchard by Jonathan Yakobovich, coming out June 2nd. This one is about Juan, a nobody from Venezuela who uses his country's political chaos and corruption to make himself a millionaire, connecting to some very seriously powerful and dangerous people along the way. He is completely convinced that he played the game the right way until he falls for an American woman named Scarlett who threatens to upend everything he is built. Next up, let's talk about the espionage thrillers. We have Three Hitmen and a Baby by Rob Hart, coming out June 16th. This one's about a support group for reformed assassins who agree to babysit one of their members' toddlers, and things go wrong almost immediately. One member gets blackmailed into killing one of his closest friends. The other two end up in an urgent care with a sick baby with no idea what the last name is. And then, so basically the police get involved and the whole group is also being hunted by the Russian mob and the police. And they're trying to stay out of trouble in a city full of surveillance. This actually sounds very fun. After that, we have The Ghost City by Ryan Pote, coming out June 30th. And this one is about a billionaire named Shan Zhang who discovers a manuscript from Marco Polo. Pointing to an ancient city buried under Antarctica. And whatever tech is hidden inside of it could shape the modern world. but at the cost of millions of lives. A treasure hunter named Ethan gets pulled into this story when a massive river in Vietnam mysteriously runs dry, and his search for answers actually leads him straight to Shanzang. And so basically, what starts as an ecological mystery turns into this race to stop one of the most powerful men on earth from unleashing something that cannot be undone. Next up, let's talk about the political thrillers. First up is 138 Maine by Gavin Bell, coming out June 2nd. And this one's about a serial killer who is targeting one very specific address, 138 Main Street. But with over 7,000 main streets across the country, the FBI has no idea which one will be hit next. Agent Ben Walker and his rookie partner are racing against the clock while panic spreads nationwide and vigilante residents start taking matters into their own hands. This sounds very good. Next up is Choke Point by Brad Thor, coming out June 16th. This one's about a series of bombings in Bangkok that kill tons of Americans. And while the FBI handles the official investigation, top spy Scott Harvath is sent in quietly to figure things out. Only when he gets there, he discovers the bomber isn't a foreign terrorist, it is actually one of America's own. As he closes in on the truth, he uncovers a massive Chinese operation to trigger a military coup in Thailand and seize control of a very critical waterway that could shift the balance of power between the world's superpowers. All right, next up, let's talk about the mystery thrillers. The first up is The Girl in the Lake by Lauren Oliver, coming out June 1st. This one's about a psychologist named Kate, and she gets pulled into an interview with a 6-year-old girl who claims to remember a past life. The case pulls her back to her hometown where her best friend vanished from summer camp nearly 24 years ago and was not found. Now, the more Kate listens to this little girl's memories, the more she is convinced that this little girl somehow is her best friend. So now Kate has to follow a trail of buried secrets back to that summer by the lake to find out what really happened to her friend. That sounds very interesting, very unique. I love past live stuff. Next up, A River Red with Blood, a Charlie Parker novel by John Connolly, coming out June 2nd. This one is the latest Charlie Parker novel. It's about a private investigator in Maine who gets pulled into two connected cases. One case is a teenage runaway found dead in a river, and the other one is a girl who's just gone missing and presumed dead. As Parker digs into what links these two cases together, he starts uncovering something really dark beneath the surface of the quiet community, one that turns out to be far older and more sinister than anyone ever expected. Next up is Heather by Caitlin Mullen, coming out June 9th. This one is about twin sisters who vanish in the woods in 1990. What a great year. After one of them gets tangled up in a secret affair with a mysterious older man. Years later, a police chief named Callie makes a routine arrest that unexpectedly cracks open the long-forgotten cold case of the two sisters vanishing. The deeper she digs, the more the truth starts shaking everything she thought she knew about her town and herself. Next up, Strangers Behind Closed Doors by Catherine Adele West, coming out June 9th. This one is about a head concierge at a luxury Chicago hotel. Her name is Giovanni. She reconnects with an old friend, but after a huge fight, her friend vanishes. But all the evidence points straight to Giovanni. Now, there's a ransacked hotel room, bruises that she can't explain, and a 12-hour gap in her memory, and things, they start to look bad. The one person who believes her is a detective who thinks that her friend's disappearance is connected to a series of unsolved cases targeting Black women. And together, they have to untangle a dangerous web of power and privilege before they become the next victims. Next up is The Grapevine by Sokoloff and Robertson, coming out on June 23rd. This one's about a mom whose 19-year-old daughter vanishes. So she basically hits the California highways in her family RV and starts trying to find her daughter herself. When the police won't connect her daughter's case to 4 other missing women, this mom takes matters into her own hands, building her own network of unlikely allies to try and track down the predator that she is convinced is behind her daughter's disappearance. Let's talk about the suspense thrillers coming out in June of 2026. First, we have Stuart Wood's Deep Water, a Stone Barrington novel by Brett Battles, coming out June 2nd. This one is the latest Stone Barrington novel. It's about Stone surviving a mysterious shipwreck while having drinks on a client's yacht, with barely any memory of what happened. So when evidence starts pointing to foul play, Stone has to track down whoever is responsible before they find a way to make sure there are no survivors left to talk. Next up, The Man of My Dreams by Olivia Worley comes out June 2nd. This is about a romance novelist named Ivy, and she meets a man in the park who is just perfect. He's charming, he's British, he's handsome. Basically, he's the exact character she's been writing in her next book. Things start moving really fast, but the more time she spends with him, the more she starts wondering if he's hiding something. It turns out they both might be hiding something, and what starts as a dream romance takes a very dark turn. Next up, we have Beach Thriller by Jamie Day coming out June 9th. This one is about a broke author. Her name is Holly. She goes to her family's rundown beach house to write a book that might save her financially, but she ends up taking in a teenage runaway that she finds hiding in the attic. When the girl starts working for a powerful local family with a dark connection to Holly's past, both of them land in the crosshairs of someone who's been watching Holly since she arrived in town. The secrets buried in that seaside town are a lot closer to the surface than Holly ever wanted them to be. Next up, we have You First, which is a Joe Goldberg prequel by Caroline Kepnes coming out June 9th. Now, this was a prequel to the You series, and it's about 17-year-old Joe Goldberg before he became the obsessive killer that we know now. And basically, he's just a bookshop kid in New York, and he's falling for girls on the subway and desperately wanting someone to love him. And then a woman finds him through a missed connections post and pursues him. And Joe finally thinks that he's found the one, and he decides to lie about pretty much everything to make her stay. Apparently, it's a very darkly, funny, unsettling look at exactly how Joe Goldberg became Joe Goldberg. I have not read this series. It has been on my list forever. Next up, we have Summer's Never Over by Darby Bozeman. This is coming out June 9th. It's about a woman named Greer who swore she would never go back to her family's summer camp in Georgia after this stalker terrorized the camp and her best friend ended up dead 5 years ago. But when her mother dies, she finds herself back there, surrounded by old faces, including her friend's best friend, Margot, who has never believed that the death of her other friend was an accident. So now Greer has to decide whether to keep burying the secrets from that summer or finally face what happened. Next up, Objects in Lakes by Rachel Ramos, coming out June 9th. This one is about a woman who has spent 7 years grieving the accidental drowning of her 4-year-old daughter. That sounds very dark. While her husband's career flourishes and she numbs herself with pills. But when another body turns up in the same lake on the same holiday, our main character starts to believe that her daughter's death was no accident. And as she digs into the secrets hiding beneath her picture-perfect neighborhood, what she uncovers puts everything and everyone at risk. Next up, Somebody Worth Killing by Jessica Payne, coming out June 16th. This is about a mom who moonlights as an assassin, targeting bad guys. When she pushes her agency for a bigger, more important job, she gets assigned to kill her own husband. Oh my gosh. And now she has to figure out if the man she married is actually the villain her agency says he is, and whether she can choose between the family she loves and the career that makes her who she is. Next up, I love this cover, You Girls Play Nice by Katie Alden. This comes out June 16th. This one is about 4 friends who gather after their murdered friend's killer walks free and spend a girls' night dreaming up hypothetical ways of getting revenge, just kind of like as a way to cope. But then someone starts actually carrying out what they talk about, and one by one, suddenly the 4 of them are the prime suspects. And now they have to figure out who got access to their secret plans and whether the killer might be one of their own. You girls play nice now. Next up, It Could Have Been Her by Lisa Jewell, coming out June 23rd. This one is about Jane. She's a woman who stumbles into a missing persons case when a stray dog leads her to a rundown London house called Thornwood. This is a place that has a troubled history, and the man who answers the door there is evasive. He claims to know nothing about the missing girl, and through the window, Jane actually spots a woman who looks terrified. So now she's convinced that whatever secrets Thornwood is hiding are connected to the missing teenager and something traumatic from her own past 25 years ago. Now for the psychological thrillers. First up is Tell Your Friends by Lauren Wilson, coming out June 2nd. This one is about a woman who spent her whole life being filmed for her mom's family vlog. And even like on this vlog, I guess her sister dies. And so when she goes to university as an adult, she just wants to expose her family for all the crazy stuff and just like burn the channel down. So she recruits someone to help her. But then basically, this woman that she recruits to help her helps her find out these very unsettling truths. And so our main character realizes that blowing up her family's secrets could cost a lot more than she bargained for. Next up, we have The Housewife by Natalie Borelli, coming out June 30th. This is about a woman who marries a very wealthy psychologist, and she realizes actually, no, he's cold and controlling. And the ghost of his late wife is like haunting the house. So the more Jody digs into what really happened to the ex wife, the more she's convinced that her husband had something to do with it. So she knows she should go to the cops, but doing that might reveal a secret of her own that could destroy everything, and time is running out. Next up, 9 Lives by Catherine Steadman, coming out June 23rd. This one is about a divorced woman who moves into a glamorous neighborhood for a fresh start until her cat comes home with 2 words scratched into his collar: "Help me." She fits the cat with a camera on his collar to find out where the cat has been sneaking off to. And what she starts seeing pulls her into a very dangerous web of secrets behind her picture perfect neighborhood's front doors. That sounds really interesting. All right, the final group of thrillers that we have for today is the domestic thrillers. First up, we have The Gardens by Emma Babington. Now, this is actually coming out in the UK on June 18th. So, my UK watchers, this one's actually coming out in June for you, and it's coming out in September in the US. It's about a woman named Jess who gets the call that human bones are discovered in a London garden near where she grew up. And she's convinced they belong to her sister, who disappeared in 1992. So Jess flies back from Australia with her son to help the investigation. But as she digs into the past, she kind of discovers that maybe a sinister cult was involved, and basically, the more dangerous now things start to become. The final thriller that is releasing in June that we're going to talk about today is Keep Them Close by David Ellis, coming out June 30th. This one is about 2 siblings named Allison and Luke, and they've always had each other's backs until Allison's husband turns up dead and the murder investigation starts dragging their secrets to the surface. As the net tightens around them, old lies start coming to light. Now they're not only trying to figure out who killed Allison's husband, but now whether they can even trust each other anymore. All right, let's talk about all the thriller events happening in June of 2026. The first is a really exciting one called StokerCon, and this is happening in Pittsburgh from June 4th to June 7th. It's a horror literary convention presented by the Horror Writers Association, and when I tell you how many authors are going to be there that you definitely know, you will wish you were going. Rachel Harrison, Luke Dumas, Alma Katsu, Jennifer McMahon, CJ Dodson, Saratoga Schaefer, and so many more. Don't forget to check the link in the description box so you can get more details about who's going to be there, and if you want to go, more details there too. This month on tour is the author of Sublimation, Isabel J. Kim. She's going to be touring in New Jersey, New York, and more places this month, so don't forget to check the description box for details. Also, CJ Lead is going to be on tour this month. She's the author of Headlights. She's going to be in Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, even California this month. Also, Charlie Donnelly is touring. He's the author of Guess Again, in case you didn't know. He's going to be in Michigan and Ohio, and also, I believe, Indiana from June 1st to June 5th. Also, Olivia Worley, who is the author of Man of My Dreams, that's coming out this month. She's also going to be in New York and Pennsylvania this month. Cleo Ballard, who is the author of This Is a Lie, will be at the Wacoma Bookstore in Hood River, Oregon on June 5th. We have Nicole Lundrigan, who is the author of The Case Study, who will be in Toronto on June 7th. We also have Darby Bozeman, author of Summer's Never Over, who will be at Union Avenue Books in Knoxville, Tennessee on June 9th. Cynthia Palaio, who is the author of It Came from Neverland, is also going to be in Kenosha, Wisconsin on June 11th. So many great authors everywhere. Kimberly McCrate, author of Someone Else's Husband, will also be touring this month in New York, Connecticut, and Texas. Also, if you're a fan of David Ellis, the author of Look Closer and Keep Them Close, he is going to be at the Book Loft in Oak Park, Illinois on June 30th. Next up, Rob Hart, who is the author of Three Hitmen and a Baby. That one sounds really fun. He's going to be touring New York this month. TJ Martinson, author of Blood River Witch, will be in Kentucky on June 17th. We also have Brad Thor, who is the author of Choke Point and Cold Zero. He's going to be at Douglas County Libraries in Highlands Ranch, Colorado on June 16th. We also have Lisa Jewell on tour this month from June 22nd to June 27th. She's going to be in New York with Jessica Knoll, and she's also going to be in New Jersey with Lisa Scottolini, and she's even coming out here to California, so I'm really hoping I can go see her. The final event I'll mention is actually really cool. It's called Slaughterfest, and it's an annual event held by Karen Slaughter, and this year it's on June 23rd in London, England. And this is an event that celebrates crime fiction. It is returning for its 7th year, and there's going to be panel discussions with authors like Ruth Ware, Lucy Clark, and Claire McIntosh is going to be there too. And she's actually going to be interviewed live on stage at this event. Now, sadly, Karen Slaughter is not going to be there in person, but she will be joining virtually, and there will be a chance to talk to the panelists and buy books. So it sounds like the ideal event to me. Next up, let's talk about thrillers becoming movies or series. The first, we have Cape Fear. This is coming to Apple TV on June 5th. It is a new series, and it is based on the novel The Executioners by John D. MacDonald. We also have Anne Rice's The Vampire Lestat premiering on AMC on June 7th. This is the 3rd season in the Interview with the Vampire series. And lastly, we have Harlan Coben's thriller, I Will Find You, also coming out this month on Netflix on June 18th, starring Britt Lauer from Severance. Hello. I'm actually going to plan to read this book so I can watch the series and do a comparison because I love that actress, Britt Lauer, I don't know how to say her name. Love her, and I really enjoy Harlan Coben's books too, so it's just like a match made in heaven. Lastly, let's talk about the scary movies coming out in June. The first one is actually a parody scary movie, Scary Movie 6. This is the classic horror movie parody, and it is back and also by the Wayans brothers. I'm so excited for this one. This is going to hit theaters on June 5th. Next up on June 5th, we have a shark horror movie called Chum. This is about people who are at a wedding party in Malta who encounter a bloodthirsty shark and a very sinister fisherman who turns their celebration into a very deadly trap. Next up, we have Kraken coming out on June 12th. This is a Norwegian scary movie. It's about a marine biologist who is doing research on a fish farm, and she encounters several strange occurrences. If you guys watch the trailer on this one, it is very good. It's basically about that mythical beast, the Kraken, and I really, really want to see it. Next up is Leviticus, coming out June 19th. This is an Australian romantic supernatural horror film about 2 teenage boys who must escape a violent entity that takes the form of the person they desire the most, each other. Watch this trailer, so good, cannot wait to see this one. Next is Rose of Nevada, coming out on June 19th. This one looks really good too. The trailer is so creepy. It's about a mysterious boat that returns to a village 30 years after vanishing. 2 men join its crew hoping for a better fortune, and after one voyage, they find themselves transported back in time, mistaken for the original crew. Please watch this trailer, please. It looks so good. Finally, in June 26th, we have Camp. Camp is being described as a dreamy sapphic witch tale about Emily, a grief-stricken young woman haunted by her past. At her father's suggestion, she takes a job at a summer camp for troubled youth, and there she finds solace and is welcomed by a coven of witchy counselors with supernatural abilities. This one looks so creepy and interesting. Definitely need to see this one, coming out June 26th. All right, and there you have it. All the books, events, and movies coming out in June of 2026 in the thriller and horror genre. What are you the most excited for? All these movies sound so good to me. There's so many cool, good books coming out. Let me know what you're excited for. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to my Bookish newsletter so you can get all this good stuff sent to you weekly via email. You can find the link to subscribe in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.